Hey guys, I just wanted to reach out to you and let you know that Surewinder is still selling amazing products. Some of you guys have been dragging your feet for whatever reason. If your shoulder hurts, do not waste time. Pull the trigger. I just bought 4 or 5 of them, and we had 2 guys out. You know how much it cost me to pay for 2 guys being out with bad shoulders? We just pulled the trigger and we said, listen, everybody's going to have one on a truck. It's mandatory. You got to use it. Don't hesitate. Don't wait till your guys go down. It's going to cost you more. Buy a Surewinder.
What's up, guys? Ryan here, Torsion Talk podcast. We've got some things to discuss today. First and foremost, Virtual Door Dealer Conference is open for registration. And if you are a GDU member or a virtual door dealer, a Markenuity hero, you get in free. Make sure you check in with me for a discount code. If you are not one of those two and still want to participate, which it's open, so it's not for GDU or Markenuity. Matter of fact, we're not really going to be spending any time on those. It's not a pitch fest. This is really us trying to do something for you, the garage door companies, to help you improve and develop and get better. I think that for the price point and the time invested, it's going to make a huge difference. Strongly recommend it. And then don't forget, we got a few seats left at the summit in Puerto Rico in March. So make sure you check that out. You can go to garagedoorsummit.com and check out the specifics on that. If you have any questions, you can hit me up. Let's dive right in. Now, love it or hate it, I am telling a little bit of my testimony, some of the things I've been through. I don't know why I was led to do this, but I just feel like it's the right thing to do right now. I think I kind of got through a little nasty lawsuit. I'm out of some stuff where they could probably use some of this stuff against me. So I felt like this is a good time to share a little bit about me. I don't talk about me a lot on this podcast. At least I don't think I do. I talk about my experiences in business, but as far as like me and my personal life, I don't talk a lot about it. So last time, 2 weeks ago, we covered a lot of my childhood going through high school. So I want to pick up, I dropped out of high school when they announced testing for SAT. And then I went homeschool, but I wasn't really doing very well in homeschool. So I moved out because I threw a party one night at my parents' house, and my parents came home because my mom threw her back out. They were on a boat, and they were supposed to stay out on the lake all night. We live off of the lake, not on the lake, but like the dock was not far from there, and my parents had just bought a boat. Like an old cabin cruiser that they used to like to go out on. And we were definitely starting to do better. My mom and dad had remarried and been together for a little bit now. My dad worked really hard. My mom worked hard. So they started making some decent money. And I think I mentioned like this was the place where we had moved to kind of get me out of trouble. Anyway, long story short, I moved back to the area where I kind of grew up, that Duluth Norcross area. And I was kind of bouncing around like places to stay. And during the day, just, cruising around and hanging out and going from one house to another. And so I met, I had kind of gotten to some some back and forth with a guy from a neighboring school. And I didn't really know much about him, but I wasn't really much for someone to like back down. So we kind of went at it a little bit, never really in person, but I don't remember why I pissed him off so bad, but I just remember him telling me like he was going to kill me or something. And someone actually said that, hey, a lot of people say that, but this dude actually will kill you. So I told him my address and said that he could come whenever he wanted. Anyway, long story short, we actually became friends. And when I moved out, he was kind of that person that was like, hey, come hang with me. And so I kind of started hanging out and staying at this apartment that he was at, and you know, neither one of us were a great influence on each other, but this is where I kind of got exposed to like opioids. Um, we were getting prescriptions filled for some pretty heavy prescription drugs, partying, drinking, making a lot of bad decisions. And that place ended up getting hit by the feds, that apartment. So we ended up stopping hanging out there. I'm not sure, honestly, what even made of that, because I had really just started hanging out there like not long before. I didn't really know the guy who owned the apartment or leased it that well. Um, I was just there because the guy I was hanging out with, I'm just gonna leave names out because I don't think it's right to share the names, had invited me there and he was staying there. So that was kind of my first experience with something like that happening. I had pulled into the apartment building, and I saw all the cars. I looked like they had just got there. So I backed out and took off. Because I mean, I'm sure they saw my car. If they were doing that, they had seen my car there before. So I just tried to get out of there as quickly as possible. Um, I would say probably not even a couple weeks later, got a phone call. I don't remember who introduced me to him, but somebody said, "Hey, I met this guy. He just got out of jail. Um, he claims to have a connection." Um, and said that, and this is a crazy story, y'all, because I'm gonna put a bow tie on this. Maybe today, that's gonna be one of those things where you're just like, that's not a coincidence. You know what I'm saying? But long story short, this guy was from Oakland, California, and we met up at an Applebee's off Pleasant Hill Road one day, and he was telling me how he was locked up with this guy. His name was also, well, I won't say his name, and he said that he was about to get out. He had all these connections, and that because I knew a lot of people in the area and he didn't, he just wanted to make the connection and get like some type of middleman fee for the connection. And then, you know, he would help me too. So I agreed, but I wanted to meet the guy first. So when he got out, we went and met him, and everything worked out, and he was willing to front me. Apparently this guy had gone to the guy that I just met at Applebee's. I'm going to try not to make this too confusing since I'm not using names, but he was from Oakland, and he just lived with no fear, right? Like, he just lived with no fear. And the guy who had the hookup, he more or less was just a, you know, upper class white dude. And I think a lot of people on the streets didn't respect him for his game and what he was. And he kept apparently getting robbed. And he was good on the business side, but he needed protection. So that's what he was looking to get from now my buddy who I just met at Applebee's. So long story short, he tries to front me, and he's asking me, you know, when we first met, like, what are you looking for? And I was like, I don't know. He said, here, try these. Tell me if you like them. These are my favorite. And then, you know, hang with us tonight. So I ended up going to a rave that night with all of them and taking some ecstasy. And quite frankly, I mean, if you would have asked me that night what I was born for, I would have told you it was this feeling right here. This is what I've been chasing my whole life. And you know, you have no self-doubt when you're on that. You feel appreciated and loved and like all good feelings. It's just really weird how that works. But you know, we go to a rave and everybody's so friendly and getting along, and
I don't know. It was just the whole feeling of feeling accepted by people I didn't know. I felt like I had met my people, for the first time. I felt free. So that was kind of the beginning. And then he was like, hey, we negotiated a price, and it was well below what you could get it for on the streets. And so I'm sitting here thinking, man, I can double my money on this easily. So he tries to front me, but I don't accept because I had just gotten like a couple $1,000s on a settlement with car insurance deal where I had gotten hit. And so I paid him up front. Felt like that was important. I don't know why. I guess I just watched too many movies where guys get in over their head and get robbed, whatever. And now they got to deal with the robbery, and then they got to deal with the paying the guy back. So anyway, long story short, we're going to raves and stuff and partying, and I remember him like it's really weird. I would count his money. He trusted me. I would count his money. I would be in charge of like counting his cash like every week just to make sure everything was clean and we had the right amount of money. And he would get shipments every week, usually in like big, large, like the lawn bags, the black lawn bags. And so my job was to count all the money prior, and then he would have like gallon Ziploc bags, quite a few of them, full of like we called it ecstasy back then. I guess Molly is the proper name now. He would have some weed in there, usually like really high end stuff, some meth. I don't remember a whole lot of cocaine in those, to be honest with you, but I do remember the first time we pulled some out of ice. I had never seen it or heard of it before, and it looked like a little crystal ball almost. And when we like shaved it off, it came off like plastic, and it was like, man, I don't really feel like this is a good idea. Trying to snort little shavings of what looks like plastic to a degree. But we had to try it. We were going to sell it. We were going to try it. So that night was a crazy night. Actually, the next few days were a little crazy because we ended up sleeping for like 2 or 3 days. But I got into this like routine of just doing drugs every day, really to the point where I was a goofy kid, like just loved to have fun and party, and but I also had this like mean, ugly side to me as well that was very defensive. You had to be on your game and kind of somewhat tough to a degree to like not get robbed and taken advantage of. I did end up getting robbed one time. I was staying at a girl's apartment, and I had put all my stuff in a closet and hid it. And one of the girls that stayed there, we went out and came back, and it wasn't a ton of stuff. I mean, it was probably a couple of pounds of weed, but still, nonetheless, it was the idea, right? Like if you allow that, then you're really, it's just going to happen over and over. So, I'll never forget. I started doing research and found where his parents lived, and one night we just rolled up on his parents' house, and we were sitting out front, and like the guy that took me that knew where he lived was like, he's not here. What do you want to do? And I mean, when you are not thinking right, you make really bad decisions in the moment.
Hey guys, I found something that changed my business and I want to share it with you. We've created packages that have included some of the best products in our industry to offer our service customers. The heart of that package is Stealth Hardware Kit. Stealth Hardware is the quietest hinges on the market. I challenge you to buy at least one of these, test it for yourself. Put it on your truck, and design a quiet performance package for your customers willing to pay for a better, smoother running door. Buy your stealth hardware kit at Service Spring, do a search for quiet hinge, and then buy that. You can buy a double or single door, 7 or 8 foot tall, and promise you it'll change your service forever.
Somer USA and Somer Group want to thank you for an incredible year and the trust you've put in them and their products. As you know, Somer places high value on relationships, education, customer service, innovation, and professionalism. And they are grateful to you for your part in the fostering and dissemination of these values. If there is any way Somer can support you in your journey, whether through their products, the values they hold to, or the knowledge Somer has gained through interaction with door dealers across the world, please reach out to the team at your convenience. They are here to serve you. Again, thank you from the entire Somer team. Check them out at somerusa.com. Tell them Ryan sent you. And I'll say this because it's such a good lesson to learn at an early age. But pride will drive you into a cell or a box. You know, when your pride gets hurt, it's easy to fall into the trap of making a commitment that will send you to prison for the rest of your life, or, you know, doing things that you regret. And I'm very thankful for the guy that was with me, you know, changing the direction of that before we got to the door. Because my life would be very different right now had he not. And I wasn't thinking right, you know, a couple of days without sleep and adrenaline and everything else that was going on. So, you know, I'm trying to set an example, but it ended up being enough of an example to make people understand that I wasn't playing around. And I regret that, you know, like I regret even the thought of that, like crossing that boundary. Like I felt like anytime something happened to me, like somebody did something to me, I wanted to go after them 10 times harder, but not directly. Like I wanted to let them know that whomever that they love was untouchable or you know, could be reached or whatever. Like that was a really horrible thing. And evil, quite frankly. So here I am in raves, and what's crazy is like we used to go to these underground raves, and I would have a couch. They would set up a couch for me because the guy that got me all my stuff was friends with all these guys throwing the underground raves. And then I remember this one rave, like in particular, I think it was at the Nike Pavilion, which is, I felt like it was a parking garage. I don't know. Anyway, it was a long day, lots of restless nights, no sleep. But I was on this couch, and I had just gotten there, and there was a police officer at the end of the couch, and I was like, introduce myself, and I remember him telling me like, hey, when you get there, I got you some protection, so you're good. You don't have to worry about nothing. And so there was an off-duty police officer there, like protecting me. And I was a little nervous for sure. But like one thing led to another, and, you know, I was able to like do my thing there on the couch all night long, selling. And I mean, you could easily make 10, 15 grand that one night just selling like singles, $30 a pop in the rave. People would pay whatever in those places, right? because it's at that point in time, it was like if they were starting to come down or whatever, they would do whatever. And the party was going on that long, and then you have the after party that was like 6 in the morning or whatever. But anyway, I just found it very interesting. And I think there was like one night where I think things changed for me a good bit, and that was I got into like candy flipping, where you would do like acid and ecstasy together. And we would use cocaine to come down sometimes. Like, if you're drunk, you use cocaine, it like sobers you up. And sometimes you use cocaine to come down from some other stuff as well, and it just balance things out a little bit. And you smoke a blunt or whatever, or a bowl, and you feel normal. Well, for us, we felt normal. Well, it would help us if we felt like we were getting a little bit too on the outside. That is what I would say, like starting to feel like you're out of control, like you can't control things. And my buddy from Oakland had come over and had a little baggie, and this is kind of the same baggie that we used to keep like a little bit of coke in just to help us come back. And then he was asking me to hit it, and I was like, okay. So I did, and then quickly realized this was not coke. He had given me cat tranquilizer, which back then was called Special K. So not only now am I on acid and ecstasy, large amounts of it. I think I had taken like 2 or 3 gel tabs, and I had a tolerance of ecstasy where I would probably pop them like once every 45 minutes to an hour on a party night. I think the most I ever took in one night was 12. But this particular night, I think I had gotten up to like 6 or 8 with acid. And I did that, and it pushed me over the edge. That was probably the first time in my life where I felt like I was truly out of control. Like things were happening and I couldn't change it. Time stood still. Even my friends didn't look familiar to me. I felt alone. And I just remember thinking, man, I need a cigarette. My cigarettes were in the car, and we had parked like a mile away. And I ended up, had a bum come up to me while I was walking by myself, apparently like a mile away from this place, trying to find my car. And that turned into a fight. Just a lot of weird stuff. I came back. I don't even know if I found my car or my cigarettes, but ended up coming back and finding my friend passed out on a car outside. Like just lots of really, just the weird stuff. And then all my friends were so messed up that I had to drive that night. And the last time I drove, I ended up in South Carolina with some girl I didn't know, trying to figure out how to get home. And like it's just not good. Like, but I realized at that point in time that, hey, we're making a lot of bad decisions. And I think that night really, it changed me, and I started questioning things a lot. And I think the crew saw that too. And I started kind of pulling back on selling. And I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but we ended up I'm skipping a lot, but the phone rang, and it was our hookup telling they live together, my buddy from Oakland and him. And he's like, hey, all my stuff's in your room. Don't let anybody over. Is anybody there? He said, yeah, Ryan. He's like, okay, y'all don't let anybody in. And so he hands me his pistol, says, go downstairs and shoot anybody that walks in. I'm going to go check this out. I'm going back to Oakland. And I was like, man, first of all, I'm not trying to kill anybody. This is not where I want to be right now. I had already kind of started making the decision that this is not the life I want to live. And here I am in a position now where somebody walks in, somebody's going to die. Probably going to be me or them. Possibly. I got to bleep that out. I had to make a decision. I mean, at that point in time, it was them or me. And that was kind of like the next moment where I was like, I'm having to make a decision to hurt somebody that I like, you know, that's been looking out for me. And so he decided to take all the stuff and move back to Oakland, and I got left here. And I kind of feel like this is a good stopping point. I'm gonna keep it short. I skipped a lot of stuff. I mean, tons of drama, years. This all happened within years. 2.5, 3 years period of time. And but I wanna hit this right, and I'm like 19, 20-ish. I'm like right around 20 years old at this point. And so I want to dig into this part a little bit next time we come on and share with you kind of like some of the stuff that went on and what I would call like a small little miracle that happened within the last 2 weeks. Kind of a small world type of moment. And then we'll kind of go into my professional career, because once I get out of this, that's when I get into that. So anyway, I hope you guys are blessed. I know this isn't garage door related. I apologize, but I really feel led to share this story. And I've been feeling led for a long time, but I wanted to share it because for many reasons, but we're going to get into some of that later. But I hope you enjoyed it. And I think the next episode is going to be even better. It's going to be the best one yet. So thank you for following along. Be blessed. Have a good week.